What's good, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to a brand new episode of me watching weird videos with y'all, boys and girls. Without further ado, let's get to the video. I hope you enjoy this one. I'm gonna try not to commentate too much.
If you see this on the beach, you need to take your shoes off and run fast. I'm not kidding, this could save your life one day, so make sure you stay till the end of this video. If you're walking on the beach and you come across something that looks like this, you're in extreme danger. But before I tell you why, I found a way that you can prank your friends and spam text them at maximum speed. If you want to prank your friends, just click the link in the comments. This thing is called the lion's mane jellyfish. And these things can be up to 120 feet long. And you do not want to get stung by one of these, so make sure you warn your friends.
43 monkeys have escaped from a biolab research center in South Carolina, and authorities are urging residents to keep their doors and windows securely closed. We really about to have Planet of the Apes before It said that their escape was due to human error, with a member of staff failing to lock the doors behind them. And if you were worried, we about to have Caesar 2.0. Luckily, none of these monkeys have been used in lab testing, and they are too young to carry diseases. Only real problem is that they're freaking hard to catch, because when you chase them, they just scatter. And catching all 43 is gonna take a while.
More expectations.
Here's how this man became the best personal trainer in the world. His name is JJ Peterson, and he's always been at the forefront of fitness in the media, and he's a great gymnast and athlete. When he decided to help this man lose weight, he had no idea how challenging it would be and how it would change his life forever. The first time JJ met Ray Stewart, he explained exactly what he was going to do. He wanted to go on the journey of losing weight with him, so he made the decision to gain 60 pounds. Ray was at the weight of over 360 pounds, and JJ wanted to know what it would be like to lose the weight with him. So JJ started eating everything unhealthy in sight, like candy, soda, and pizza. After a bit of time, JJ gained 60 pounds and was now stressed physically and emotionally. And what happened next will completely shock you, so hit the plus for part 2.
My apologies, y'all, but I have to say something. I mean, it's just the way my personality is. But did y'all hear him talk about the last guy? He said that he was starting to feel a little depressed. I mean, what you expect? He went from being a fit dude to swallowing pizzas like a beluga on a daily basis. Obviously, you're gonna be a little depressed. He could never be my fitness instructor. I'm banning him from my surroundings. What is that supposed to be?
Gruesome torture methods that you'll be glad you weren't around for. Part 1. The brazen bull execution was a method used in ancient Greece where a flame at the bottom roasted you to death, and the head of the bull was designed in such a way that your screams would be filtered and contorted into the sounds of a real bull. On pirate ships, workers who refused to follow orders would be hung by their nails. Another method used by pirates was called keel hauling, in which the men were dragged under the ship until they died. And if this wasn't bad enough, the ship's hull was covered in barnacles so the man would be cut up as he drowned. Scaphism was an ancient Persian torture technique where criminals were stripped naked, tied to a boat, and then force-fed honey and milk until they got diarrhea, were covered in more honey, and set adrift in the ocean. This would then attract insects that would slowly but surely eat the men to death.
Here's what angels actually look like according to the Bible, and they're quite terrifying. Many people think that angels just look like this, a human with wings, but that couldn't be farther from the truth. According to the Bible, they actually looked quite horrifying, like I'm about to show you, and it's gonna make sense why angels said do not be afraid when they appeared to humans.
I truly think that my little friend here, Matt, this little TikTok guy, I truly believe that he may have misspelled demons, because if an angel looks like this, or if an angel looks like the first picture they showed, I forgot what it looked like exactly, but I think it was a skeleton. Anyways, it doesn't matter. Demon is all that matters. I mean, I'm speechless. Anyways.
Something is following me, and I can't tell what it is.
Brother, you're about to die. I'm just kidding. It's a fisher cat, which isn't actually a cat, and apparently they don't even fish because the naming guy had a stinker. Like the guy that named a not an eel an eel, or a not a shrimp, and this not a badger but a honey badger. Speaking of honey badger, they pull up to the same family reunion, and as a mustelid, they're also related to otters and weasels. The fisher cat, not to be confused with the fishing cat that's also real, is basically a travel-sized Wolverine. And don't let the feral ferret fool you. They've been known to run fades with lynxes and win. It's also proven that they'll pass tense a porcupine and live to do it again. And yeah, they're a lot bigger than I thought they were. This is what one about to catch a body looks like. Brother, my guy, you are getting hunted. And just kidding again. He's just being curious. Say that cuz if he was really on timing, you would not be seeing him. Might hear him though. If you've ever been in the woods and heard the sounds of a woman getting escorted off the census, chances are you just heard a fisher family. Or at least that's what I
If you ever in the woods, you ain't never gonna see me in the woods. Thanks to these videos right there. I mean, right here. Excuse my stuttering, y'all. Sometimes I'll be weird like this, but bear with me or click off the video. I might cry tonight. But yeah, you ain't never gonna catch me in them forests around these. I know that this creature may be a little. I mean, it's not that big. It's like a oversized ferret, but you still ain't gonna see me around them. Never. Y'all seen my man recording in the forest? He said, I'm being pursued, but I don't know what it is exactly. Trust me, you don't want to know. Get out of the forest.
thought. Apparently fishers don't make that much noise in general, and the scream thing is probably a myth, and the more I know. Another myth is that they snatch children. While I'm sure someone in the history of mankind's gotten folded by a featherweight Wolverine, they usually avoid people, so you probably did something to deserve it. So yeah, the cameraman's in no danger, and that's not a fisher or a cat, but it's somehow both. But if the fisher's not a screamer, what is this?
It's an awful sound.
I just hate. What do you mean, what is this? I mean, we don't even need to know what it is, to be honest. Like, we don't need no expert for this. It's something demonic. Run out of the forest. It's that easy. Or die. It ain't gonna change anything in my life.
This boy was bullied every day for his rabbit teeth, then he did something unbelievable. Evan Hill is a normal 10-year-old boy in New Zealand, except for one thing. He had giant front teeth. Evan got made fun of for his rabbit teeth every single day, so he hated going to school. But then his story went viral on social media, and finally he got enough money to get his 2 front teeth fixed. So he spent 2 hours at the dentist finally getting his teeth fixed. And here's what he looks like after the procedure. When he went to school the next day, he had a big smile on his face, and he got an apology from all of his bullies. He had a big smile on his face, and he got an apology from all of his bullies.
This is why you should always lock your doors. A junior in high school was home alone working on a paper while his parents were out to dinner. All night he sits with his back to his door, sitting at his desk with his noise-canceling headphones on. Around 11 o'clock he takes his headphones off at the same time his parents are returning to the house, and he hears his mom from downstairs yell, "Hey Adrian, what happened?" Confused, he runs downstairs and sees right away what she's looking at. Muddy footprints all over the rug. He tells her, "I didn't leave my desk." And then they realize someone must have broken in. They look at the footprints and there's none leaving the house. They're worried someone's still in the house, so they run into the garage, terrified, call the police. Police arrive and they don't find anyone in the house, but they do make a chilling discovery upstairs. The police bring them to the kid's bedroom door, which had been left open all night, and they point to the message written on it in Sharpie. This is the actual transcript of what was written on his door, which means for nearly 2 hours, someone stood in this kid's doorway watching him.
This is why you should never sleep next to your phone. In 2019, a girl fell asleep listening to her favorite music on her phone. As most people do, she had her phone plugged into the outlet next to her bed. The next morning, the parents walked in and discovered that the phone that was next to her head had exploded. Before I tell you what happened to her, I found a way to finish your math homework in seconds. Just scan the math problem and it'll give you a solution along with an explanation. Press the button on my profile to try it. She was immediately rushed rushed to the hospital but unfortunately passed away due to her injury.
Terrifying last words people said right before passing away. A nurse working at the Alzheimer's and Dementia unit in a hospital said this experience really got to her. One of her favorite patients' conditions was getting worse, so she started checking on him more often. They'd always joke around with each other, but in the last weeks of this patient's life, he stopped talking completely and would barely acknowledge anyone speaking to him. Until one night, this nurse went into his room and said she was going home for the day, but she'll see him tomorrow. That's when he looked directly into her eyes, smiled, and said, "You look like an angel." At that point, he hadn't been lucid in weeks, and unfortunately, he passed away the next morning.
Believe it or not, this is a well-documented true story. In 1947, an American ship picked up a horrifying distress signal coming from an unidentified vessel. The first transmission was all officers, including the captain, are dead. The next transmission was the whole crew is dead. The last transmission was I die, and then silence. The Americans trace the signal back to a ship that's drifting off in the middle of the Indian Ocean. They quickly assemble a rescue team who boards the ship. They find the entire crew has perished in the exact same position. They are on their backs with their hands up as if fighting with some unseen force, and they look like this. There was no physical damage to the bodies or to the ship itself. However, even though it was 100 degrees outside, it was 40 degrees on the ship, and the bodies were rapidly decomposing. As soon as they tie up the ship to tow it in, it explodes, and then it sinks. To this day, no one knows what happened inside of that ship. Some say it was a chemical leak, others aren't so sure.
Here's how rare your body actually is. First off, 10% of people can touch their nose with their tongue, including me. Next, only 2% of people worldwide actually have natural blonde hair. And red hair is just as rare, with again only 2% of people actually having it. Only about 1% of people are ambidextrous. This means that you're not right-handed or left-handed. You can write with both hands just as easily. Next, only 10% of people have something called Darwin's tubercle. A little ridge on your ear, and people who have it actually say that they have a better sense of voice tonality. 5% of people have tied tongue, but from what I've seen, I thought it was a lot more common. Next is outie belly button, and only 4% of the population actually has this. And finally, only 6% of people have a butt or cleft chin. And make sure you follow for more.
A city councilman caught asleep behind the wheel with a crack pipe in his hand. This is in Rhode Island. A concerned passerby saw him and called police. Even officers seemed shocked by what they found.
You're a councilman in Cranston, smoking crack.
The man you just saw in that video, City Councilman from Rhode Island, Matthew Riley, is not a good person. So as you just saw in that footage, Matthew was found passed out in his car with a crack pipe in his lap, and it turned out that inside of that pipe was cocaine laced with fentanyl. And this video was recorded and he was arrested while he was an active city councilman. But just a month after that arrest, Matthew Riley was arrested again and charged with the molestation of a 12-year-old girl. Now, this was all back in 2023, and it would take about a year for more developments to come, but in June of 2024, he was indicted on multiple child molestation counts. I'm just going to read you what he was indicted on. 2 counts of first-degree child molestation, 2 counts of second-degree child molestation, 1 count of enticement of a minor child to engage in sexual conduct, and 1 count of simple assault. And all of these crimes were said to occur in the town of Cranston, where he was serving as a city council member on May 7th, 2023. I don't have any real updates as to what happened here since this all went down in June.
We don't need any more updates, to be honest. That's how I feel personally. I mean, like, do we really need to hear any more crimes? I mean, I feel like this is enough. This is, burn him is what I'm trying to say. I don't know if y'all can it's probably not legal. All they can do is probably take him, send him to jail, or depending on the states, maybe sentence him to death. But I still feel like we should burn him. Don't y'all agree? Crack boy.
June of this year, but I think it's safe to say that this guy should be nowhere near a position of power in the government, let alone anywhere near a child. If you want to join me on my journey exposing government corruption, listen to my new podcast, The Conspiracy Files. You can listen on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, or you can watch the video format on YouTube with photos and videos and everything.
Animals with Down syndrome.
Run, rabbit, run, rabbit, run, run.
Hello, my friend. That tiger doesn't have Down syndrome. It's suffering from birth defects due to inbreeding. As most of you know, tigers aren't usually white. This is a very rare mutation. There are no white tigers left in the wild, and a few hundred left in captivity. But here's where things get a little strange. All white tigers in captivity held in the United States descend from a single white tiger that was brought over to the country a few decades ago. And so all white tigers in the United States today are the result of intense inbreeding, which is why Kenny over here looks a little strange. So again, Kenny doesn't really have Down syndrome. He's just suffering from birth defects due to inbreeding.
I mean, I kind of do feel a little bad for Kenny. Whatever his name was, I kind of forgot. But hold on a second. I mean, look at this beautiful, fantastic, wonderful face. Yes, I just lied. This is hideous. And I'm not trying to be mean, like, he was born this way. But it still doesn't change the fact that my man's looks like a demon from hell. Anyways.
Birth defects due to inbreeding.
Y'all gonna get tired of me saying this, but this is aura in its purest form. So the story goes, a couple was living in the Chamkatska Peninsula. Remind me to tell you why that's important later, when their husky ran away from home. And after a few hours of searching, they fired up a drone to find him. Oh, they did. They found him, traveling with 3 bears. There's a lot to unpack here. Bears don't live in packs. That means this husky pulled up on a mother and her cubs and didn't get sent to dog backwards. And you can tell they're barely tolerating him. Whole time the dog's having the time of his life. Hold on, what does this remind you of? I'll give you a hint. I'm making waffles. Now back to Kamchatka, not only does it have the highest density of brown bears on the planet, because they get a fresh supply of salmon from the peninsula, it's a brolic boulder beast that could little bro a grizzly. That's who this husky decided to shack up with. I just know the mom said ignore him and he'll go away, and now the whole family's in silence because she won't admit she was wrong. There's no report that the couple got their dog back, but I don't think that's not their dog no more. That's not even the first time. A farmer lost one of his cows, and for 2 months straight she was unaccounted for. Until 2 months later, she was caught posted up with a herd of wild bison. I could make a joke right now, but guidelines won't like it, so hopefully the comments do it for me. In 2016, scientists discovered that a pod of beluga whales had adopted a single lone narwhal. For reference, narwhals are socially anxious people, shy introverts that could literally get past tense by a panic attack. Life finds a way, the more you know.
These are the countries with the longest school days, and you won't believe how long the last one is. Australia's school days are around 6.5 hours long, which isn't too bad, but they have a lot of poisonous animals, so I'm not moving there. France has 8-hour-long school days. That's too long for me. I'd rather walk up and down the Eiffel Tower. South Korea, on the other hand, has 8.5-hour-long school days, which is pretty brutal, but not in comparison to the last one. Kenya goes to school for 9 hours a day. I honestly don't know if I could handle 9 hours. I couldn't even handle 30 minutes. My attention span's the size of a peanut. Now, China's the absolute worst for school. They go to school for 10 hours a day. Let me know in the comments how long you went to school for.
What happens after death in different religions? To begin this series, let's look at Buddhism. In Buddhism, when an individual loses their life, they shall be sent to one of the 6 realms of reincarnation. The realm of gods, the realm of humans, the realm of the demigods, the realm of the animals, the realm of the hungry ghosts, and the realm of hell. And yes, if you're a Naruto fan, you probably just realized what these guys were actually representing. Your time in these realms is always temporary, and it is dependent on the karma you accumulated in your past lives. This endless cycle of reincarnation is seen as nothing more than suffering in Buddhism, as the ultimate goal is to break this suffering and reach enlightenment.
Man, here we go again with these random video that I just don't get them. Probably never will. Like, is it the same dude in every compilation filming alleyways? Like, what is he trying to catch? Demons? They're everywhere anyways. You want to catch a demon? Head to the forest. They're right there.
This her daughter's classmate after he got a higher grade than her. In September of 2022, a 42-year-old woman named Jay Sahai Irani Victoria was living with her daughter in Puducherry, India. Her daughter, known as Kay, was an 8th grade student at a local school in Karaikal. There was no denying that Kay was academically gifted, but no matter how hard she tried, there was one particular classmate who always did better than her. That classmate was 13-year-old Bala Manikandon. Not only did he get perfect scores in his exams, but he also excelled in everything that he did. Over time, Jay Sahai Irani grew resentful towards Bala because of how much better he was than her daughter, and in her eyes she felt like he was the only person in the way of her daughter becoming the best. Because of this, she felt like something had to be done. On September 2nd, the school that Kay and Bala attended, they were going to have a special event celebration, and Bala was supposed to perform in the cultural events of that celebration. Sahai Irani was also at the school, but instead of joining in on the festivities, she had an evil plan. That day when she was at the school, she went up to a security guard, lying to him, saying that she was Bala's mother, and she handed him a couple of bottles of soft drinks and asked him to give it to Bala when he saw him. But little did he know that those drinks would be laced with a deadly poison. Soon after Bala had consumed those drinks, he started to vomit, and when he was heading home, he just got worse. His parents rushed him to a private hospital where he received treatment. He ended up going home after that, but then the next day he got ill again. This time he was admitted to the government general hospital, and unfortunately he passed away.
I mean, come on, Mom. You gonna kill the little kid cause he's a little better than your daughter? I mean, what's the point? Now you're gonna literally go to jail forever, and you'll never be in your daughter's life, and you killed the kid. Weird lady. I mean, I'm sorry, she weird. Oh, he has better grades than my child. Let me assassinate him. Yeah, what a wonderful solution, ma'am. Under the jail forever, and I'll sign the papers.
Before Bala had passed away, he told his mother that he think he had gotten sick from those soft drinks that were given to him from her. She immediately grew suspicious, filed a complaint with the police, and suspected foul play. The police returned to the school and obtained CCTV footage, and as they were reviewing that footage, they could see the person that handed those drinks over was Sahai Irani. Police took her in for questioning, and she gave a full confession. She stated that she was jealous because he was doing better than her daughter, and she didn't mean to take his life, she just wanted to scare him. Sahai Irani was immediately arrested.
How are you gonna scare a little boy with poison soda pops? I mean, that's a certified assassination. Officer, the only reason I poisoned their meal was because I just wanted to put fear into them. That's not how it works. You knew you wanted to kill him, and you did. Jail. You know?
And while all that was happening, Bala's family was waiting on an autopsy report to see what was exactly in those drinks. Just days after the case started to get a lot of attention, Sahai Irani's home was vandalized and broken into. Eventually, Bala's autopsy result came in, and it was revealed that he had rat poison in his system. Currently, Sahai Irani is still in prison, and there is no update on the case, whether how long or what charges she is going to get.
Now, if you want to hear a scary myth, this is one that actually turned out to be true. So this was like way back in the day, but there was this infamous funhouse called Laugh in the Dark. Like any other kind of funhouse, ride, attraction that you would go through, it's supposed to scare you. And the whole thing about it was that it was filled with these creepy mannequins, but there was one mannequin that stuck out to everybody. All this time went by with kids who would go up to this mannequin and something seemed off about it because it was so oddly lifelike. But of course, strange mannequins aside, somebody was going to make a buck off this place. So there was a day when a film crew came in because they were going to shoot a movie. With all these mannequins and everything kind of lying around, they had to move things from one place to another. So the director said, can you pull that mannequin and put it to the side? Only for the arm of the mannequin to snap off and reveal human bone. The entire time that kids and the public had been suspecting there was something off with that mannequin, They were right. It was a real human body being used in the funhouse.
This is a true horrifying story that took place in Ar'ar, Saudi Arabia. This story has also been aired on TV by a couple of imams confirming it. I will add the video source in the comments. A Saudi Arabian man from Ar'ar has 4 brothers. All 4 brothers are married except him. People always ask him, why didn't you get married yet? And he always gets aggressive when someone asks him about marriage. He hates it. He doesn't want to get married. So people knew this man is not someone you should speak about marriage with. A few weeks later, this man was invited to a wedding. In most Muslim countries, weddings separate men and women. The men's wedding was held at a farmland somewhere deep in the desert.
My bad, y'all, but I mean, my man's literally just told the whole village that he hated the idea of marriage and that he wasn't planning on getting married. A week later, them boys invite him to a wedding. I mean, no wonder he's finna lose his mind and start shooting everyone. Y'all kinda asking for it. Why would y'all invite him to a wedding? He's allergic.
As he was driving alone at night to the wedding, he heard a woman screaming, "Please don't leave me, please help." He panicked and quickly turned on Quran in the car. Every time he hears the woman screaming, he would look outside and see a wolf. The screams wouldn't stop, and every time there was a scream, the same wolf would appear. He eventually made it to the wedding, and then he told a couple of people what happened to him on the way there. On the next day, he tells his good friend what happened. They both hop in the car in daylight and they go look for that woman. For hours, they were looking. They found traces from the wolf, but they didn't find anything else. A week later, this man went to a majlis, and he announces that he is convinced to get married for some reason. And everyone there was shocked. You, out of all people, want to get married all of a sudden. Something is not right. He had enough. He decided to go to a sheikh, and he tells him the full story. I hated marriage. I always got aggressive when someone brought it up. One day, when I drove to a wedding at night, I heard a woman screaming for help, but all I saw was a wolf. And then a few days later, I was convinced with getting an arranged marriage. Please explain what is happening to me. The sheikh laughs and tells him, you were attached by an admirer, a jinn that was emotionally attached to you. She made you hate getting married. The night you drove in the desert, she was following you. She tried to possess you, but she couldn't. And that wolf you saw killed the jinn. Jinns are known to be afraid of wolves because a wolf is the only animal that can take a jinn's life. And when you heard a woman scream, it was the jinn getting attacked. And now, you are no longer against marriage because the curse you had was killed by a wolf.
I mean, I guess that's about it for this video, y'all. I really don't know how to feel about this. I guess what I took from this video is, and what I advise y'all to do is, stay away from the woods and don't get married. Cause look at what happened to this guy. Nah, I'm just playing. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. The video is obviously over. Don't miss me too much. I'll be back soon. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed. Peace out. It's your boy, the Neon One.